नित्यानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्याधिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. Nithyanandam, we welcome all the viewers, all the participants of Paramashivoham, and all the viewers that have joined with us on Facebook, YouTube, and Kailasa's Nithyananda TV and various other social media platforms. We welcome every one of you for this most auspicious and a grand occasion of Meenakshi Tirukalyanam. And I'm sure for every one of us, this is a very special celebration, something close to all of our hearts, because this is a very important celebration for Kailasa.
Now, all of us are going to be witnessing the cosmic celestial marriage that's going to be happening. The Meenakshi Sundareshwara Tirukalyanam. That's what we all are going to be witnessing. All the viewers that are here with us and the participants that are here. I see hundreds of participants logged in from various different time zones, different countries in the Zoom rooms with us in the Paramashivoham program. All of you, I know all of us have been eagerly waiting for just this, to have the darshan of Swamiji. And now the time has come for it. We are going to be having the darshan of Swamiji. I see many of you, many couples that have been fully grandly dressed up, ready, sitting in front of the camera. Yes, some of you recognize, I saw you and smile. Yes. Now, the time has come where we are going to be receiving the blessings of Bhagavan Sundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi, Paramashiva Shakti herself, and in the Nija Avatara, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. This happening, this celestial marriage, is a very, very, very important occasion, especially if you are someone who is looking for fulfillment, completion in relationships, then you are here at the right place.
Actually, this story of how the whole beautiful Tirukalyanam, the divine celestial wedding, happens is something very special. I request all of you, as we're all getting ready to listen to this, all the participants, every one of you that are joining with us right now, very, very, very shortly, we're all going to be witnessing this auspicious divine Tirukalyanam. And we are all blessed, fortunate that we have Devi Meenakshi, Paramashiva Shakti, and Sundareshwara Paramashiva in their embodied form as our beloved Swamiji. And all of us that are here, this celebration, Meenakshi Tirukalyanam, is a part of 10-day grand Brahmotsavam called the Chittirai Peruvizha that happens in the Madurai temple. And actually, this event, Meenakshi Tirukalyanam, is very grandly celebrated in Madurai temple, which is where Devi Meenakshi had incarnated and ruled the Pandya kingdom from. And this celebration is a very, very grand one to even witness. And we are going to be doing the exact celebration exactly as it happens authentically in the Madurai temple. As we all know, Swamiji ensures every bit, every ritual that we do is in complete adherence to the Agama and to the source temples as it is celebrated there. And the Kailasa's main temple will be exactly replicating as it happens in the Madurai temple.
And the best news is, during this time, the entire cosmic alignment also happens. One is rituals being conducted exactly as per the Agamas, replicating what's being conducted in the main Madurai Meenakshi Amman temple. Not just that, during this time, the cosmic alignment also happens very, very beautifully. You will be experiencing the same rituals, you will be experiencing the same cosmic alignment, and more than everything, you will be having the darshan, the divine darshan of Devi Meenakshi, Paramashiva Shakti, and Sundareshwara Paramashiva in the physical embodied form. Wow, what a divine blessing! Because all of us are going to be experiencing this such a sweet divine blessing where all the three are coinciding and gifting us as one experience. And during this time, any sankalpa that you take, any conscious resolution that you make in your relationship, you will see how it manifests. And this is a very, very auspicious time. All the Paramashivoham participants, any of you that are right now tuned in and you're sitting here in the Nayana means where you have the blessing to be seen by the avatar and receive the initiation just by being seen. So if you had the blessing to be on the Zoom room, sit in the two-way video conferencing and ready to receive Nayana Diksha, any message that you want, any prayer that you have, you can post it and you will see the power of Devi Parashakti, Meenakshi herself, and Sundareshwara Paramashiva in the physical embodied form as our beloved Swamiji. Just through his look, you will see how the prayers, boons getting fulfilled, manifested. Understand, this blessing is something very unique and very, very rare. And all of us that are here, that here now, it's because you have been chosen, blessed by Paramashiva himself directly and Devi Meenakshi herself. That is why you are even here, when getting to be here. This is a very rare blessing. So you all can actually, all the participants that are here, sitting here with us, all of you can get ready with your Panchapachara Puja kits and come and settle down. Do not miss here. Do not turn off your camera. And this is a very, very, very sacred moment that all of us are going to witness, behold, experience, enjoy.
To all the participants that have joined us for this program, I just wanted to share with you all, take a few minutes to share with you all the significance of this happening. Why is this so special and how did this entire event unfold? It is always something very pleasant, very sweet for us to, go back and to listen to the Leelas of Paramashiva and Devi Paramashiva Shakti. And this is one such story, something with which happened out of the complete benevolence of the divine. Pandyans, the Pandya kingdom, was one of the longest ruling dynasty. The Pandyans were one of the longest ruling dynasty of the Hindu history. They date back even before the Mahabharata era, which is the 33rd century BCE till the 16th century CE. The very word Pandya has multiple meanings, and it is said to be derived from many words like Pandu, one of which means old, which means Pandya kingdom itself denotes that it is something age old. It so happens that once Devendra, the king of gods, was guilty of having killed his guru, and he was cursed to wander. To redeem himself from this curse of killing a Brahmana, he goes to Kashi, he goes to Kanchi, and he goes to Tirukadavur. And as he is wandering through the forest, suddenly he reaches a place called Kadambavana, the forest of Kadamba trees, which is known as the burr flower tree. And there he sees a Swayambhu Linga, a self-formed lingam, immediately he experiences a very deep and a beautiful liberation in his inner space. He immediately constructs a Vimana, a temple tower, installed the lingam, and starts worshipping it for many years. Right after which, Devendra is freed from his curse. And then time passes on, and it fast forwards to the time of Kulashekara Pandyan, the the predecessor of Malayadwaja Pandyan, Devi Meenakshi's father. Kulashekara Pandyan was ruling in Manavur, which was the initial capital of Pandyas, the Pandyans. And Kulasekara Pandyan uh, was an able, just administrator. He ruled his kingdom, and it is under his administration that the Sangam literature started developing during his regime. And he was, we can say, a contemporary to the Magadha king Jarasandha, who's recorded in the Mahabharata. And did you all know? Many of you might be surprised, and I should say most of us would be unaware of this fact that Devi Meenakshi lived and ruled during the Mahabharata time. Devi Meenakshi's father is mentioned in the Mahabharata scripture. We'll be learning about that as well. There should be, I'm sure there are a lot of unknown facts to many of us, which we'll be learning in this brief introduction. So, Magadha king Jarasandha was a contemporary to Kulasekara Pandyan. It so happens that once a merchant named Dhananjayan, who was living in the capital city of King Kulashekara Pandyan, happens to see this lingam in the middle of the forest, in the middle of the Kadambavana. He immediately rushes to the king and informs him of this auspicious Swayambhu Linga there. Immediately, King Kulashekara Pandyan goes to that spot which the merchant had pointed out, and he was completely experiencing oneness with the Shivalingam there. Paramashiva appears to him in a dream and tells him to convert this forest, Kadambavana, into a city, and thus started the foundation stone for Madurai. The king, as guided by Paramashiva himself, proceeded to build a proper temple around the lingam with proper prakarams, and a huge temple was built with library, Gurukul, Annadan, which is free food bank, a huge temple with food granaries, everything was built around the 33rd century BCE. During the final ceremony, Paramashiva, out of his supreme compassion, allows the nectar from the crescent moon on his head to drop and mix with the water which was being used for the Abhishekam, the ceremonial bath for the Shivalinga. And thus, the water in that place became so sweet that it was called as Madurai. Thus, the name, the city started being called as Madurai, which means sweet. And then Kulashekara Pandyan was succeeded by his son Malayadwaja Pandyan. Malayadwaja Pandyan, also known as the Saragadwaja Pandyan, as he is mentioned in the Mahabharata, which means the Pandya flag had the symbol of a bow, the Saranga, and the Dwaja flag. And hence, Malayadwaja Pandyan was also called as the Saragadwaja Pandya. He obtained weapons from Bhishma, Drona, Balarama, and Kripacharya. All of these are mentioned in the Mahabharata, and thus he became an equal to that of Rukmi, Karna, and Arjuna and Achyuta. An inscription records that the Pandya king led the elephant force in the Mahabharata war on behalf of the Pandavas, which is Saragadwaja, Malayadwaja Pandyan. He leads the army, one section of the army on behalf of the Pandavas, and also an inscription states that the early Pandyas translate the epic of Mahabharata into Tamil in the Sangam literature during the Sangam period time, during the latter half of the Sangam period time. So earlier, it so happens that during this time, King Malayadwaja Pandyan's wife, Kanchanamala, had a boon from Devi Parashakti in the previous life, that Parashakti herself would be born as a daughter to Devi Kanchanamala. And keeping true to her promise, Devi Parvati, Paramashiva Shakti herself, comes as their daughter. This happens when King Malayadwaja Pandyan and his wife Kanchanamala perform the Putra Kameshti Yajna, a sacred fire ritual, to invoke and have their heir, their progeny. And during this yajna, Devi Paramashiva Shakti emerges out of fire as a sacred baby. The baby, the divine child, to the shock of the couple, had three breasts. And when they were shocked about this, at once the Ashareri Vak, the heavenly voice, the divine voice, Akashic readings, was heard to them, which revealed that the young 3-year-old girl that emerged from the fire was none other than Paramashiva Shakti herself, and it revealed that her third breast would vanish once she meets her other half, once she meets her Ardhanga. This completely filled the royal couple with gratitude, and thus they named her as Tadadagai, the one who emerged from the fire. Devi is also called as Chitaknikunda Sambhuta, the one who emerges from the Chitaknikunda. The young Tadadagai, being the royal heir to the throne of the Pandya kingdom, is taught all the martial arts, became a fine warrior who excelled particularly in archery and sword fighting. She mastered all the 64 arts, Vedas, Shastras, Manudharma Shastra, and various other Shastras, and grew up to become an able, wise, and a just administrator. She was known for her compassion. She was known for her administrative skills. She was known to be a very, very proficient leader. Malayadwaja Pandyan, during the Mahabharata time, goes to participate in the Mahabharata war from the Pandava side in the Kurukshetra. During the Mahabharata war, Malayadwaja Pandyan also manages to wound Dronacharya, the teacher of Pandavas and Kauravas, who fights on the side of the Kauravas. And Malayadwaja goes on further to take on Drona's son Ashwathama. In that duel, unfortunately, he gets killed. This incident is recorded in the Mahabharata Drona Parva in the 23rd chapter, 7th verse, where Malayadwaja Pandyan is mentioned as Saragadwaja, and his cavalry, how many people he took to the war, everything is mentioned in the Mahabharata in the Drona Parva. So, after the death of her father, Princess Tadadagai ascends the throne and takes oath as a queen of Madurai, as the queen of the Pandya kingdom. And she takes the oath on Manudharma Shastra. This coronation ceremony is attended by Agastya himself. After her accession to the throne, Devi Meenakshi goes on to conquer all the world's countries and kingdoms around the world. After she ascends the throne, she goes on to revive and re-establish Dharma. She goes on to conquer all the world. She, out of her courage, travels to all the 10 directions, which included even Swarga and Patala, and she very easily conquered all the worlds. Of course, she is the Supreme Mother, Parashakti herself incarnate. She goes on to conquering every place, re-establishing prosperity, a beautiful kingdom filled with peace and joy in all the places that she conquered. She ruled all the kingdoms with complete absolute dharma, re-established the dharma back, brought back the glory, and was able to lead all the kingdoms into a very successful, bright future. All the subjects under her rule were completely happy. Everyone progressed towards enlightenment. And she conquered all the worlds. Finally, she starts advancing towards Kailash, the only place that was left unconquered. Devi Parashakti very effortlessly defeated the Bhutaganas, the army of Paramashiva. She even defeated the chief of Bhutagana, Adhikara Nandi. Swamiji beautifully accounts this, saying that Adhikara Nandi, for a very strange reason, felt tremendous feeling towards that of a mother seeing Devi Meenakshi. He didn't feel like he should pick up the weapons and fight, and thus very easily Devi could defeat Adhikara Nandi himself, which was Paramashiva's very own vehicle. And after conquering all the worlds, then she proceeds towards Kailash. This whole procession is called the Digvijaya Yatra, where she celebrates her victory and proceeds towards Kailash. And this divine Leela of Paramashiva Shakti is called as a Digvijaya Yatra, which is celebrated in the previous day during the 10-day Brahmotsavan in the Madurai temple. And finally, Devi Tadadagai heads towards Paramashiva. Paramashiva The moment she sees Paramashiva, her 3 eyes meets Paramashiva's 3 eyes. She awakens to herself. She realizes she is Paramashiva Shakti. Paramashiva is her own. She is his own. In this moment, her third breast completely disappears. She experiences the cosmic union with Paramashiva. She experiences the Paramadvaita Anubhuti with Paramashiva. She realizes she is none separate from Paramashiva and Paramashiva is not separate from her. She realizes her true purpose. She realizes her incarnationhood. She experiences enlightenment. The Paramadvaita Anubhuti experiences Paramashiva Sayujya. That moment, she bows down her head to Paramashiva and she surrenders to Paramashiva, realizing that he is the ultimate consciousness. And at that moment, she expresses and experiences her love towards Paramashiva and she requests Paramashiva to accept her in marriage. Paramashiva making her realize that he is her own Ardhanga and she is his own Ardhangini. He commits to her, saying he himself will come to Madurai, her city, and as the groom and take her hand in marriage. Devi Parashakti, though, has a very particular request to Paramashiva. She says, "Oh Mahadeva, you are Asutosha. You just get pleased with simple things and you adorn yourself with the sacred ash, the bhasma, and just the serpents become your ornaments." She says, "But the people living in Bhuloka, the people in Madurai would want to see you in your most graceful form." And she requests Paramashiva to come in the most graceful form to receive her hand in marriage. Paramashiva, agreeing to the request of Paramashiva Shakti, comes in the most beautiful form, in the most handsome form as Bhagavan Sundareshwara Paramashiva. That is why the very name Sundareshwara means the most handsome, the most graceful form of Paramashiva. And Paramashiva comes down to Madurai, takes her hand in marriage, requests her hand to be given in marriage, and Mother Kanchanamala, with all the bliss, hands over Devi Meenakshi to Bhagavan Sundareshwara. Thus, the union of Devi Meenakshi and Sundareshwara Paramashiva happens, and they go on to rule Madurai for hundreds of years and restore the dharma, restore peace, prosperity, and enlightened civilization in not just Madurai, in all the worlds that Devi Meenakshi conquered. Swamiji beautifully says Devi Meenakshi was ruling Madurai through soft power, not through, she didn't conquer by force, she conquered by enlightenment. She spread the science of enlightenment to everyone. Madurai, under her rule, was so prosperous and it blossomed so beautifully. It was called Tunga Nagaram, which means nobody in Madurai could sleep. Madurai city never rested. It was always bustling. They excelled in trade of pearls. They excelled in enlightenment science. They excelled in so many fields. Thus, Madurai became so prosperous. And they ruled on to hundreds of years. And their leelas are recorded in multiple ways. In even Sekirar very beautifully records the leelas, Shiva leelas of Paramashiva, and there's a compilation of the Tirukalyanam Puranam, all the divine acts, the divine plays of Paramashiva during his regime in Madurai is recorded there. And finally, both of them eternally grace Madurai to this day as the deities in the Madurai temple, as Devi Meenakshi and Sundareshwara Paramashiva. To this day, anybody that calls Sundareshwara Paramashiva and Devi Meenakshi, they readily appear gracing them, gracing anybody who calls them. And today, we are going to be blessed with witnessing this very divine happening of Tirukalyanam.
And understand this divine happening, and the two, we are going to be experiencing this physically. Devi Meenakshi, Paramashiva Shakti, and Sundareshwara Paramashiva, the most handsome form of Paramashiva, descending in one form, the Nijavatara, as the supreme pontiff of Hinduism. Today, all of us are going to be experiencing that very form. We are going to be experiencing, enjoying, and receiving of that very form. How excited are each and every one of you that are here with us? See hundreds of you logged in various different Zoom rooms. I request all of you to take a few minutes, take a picture of yourself. Just click a selfie of yourself with the set that you have and post on Facebook how excited you are to be a part of this divine happening. This is literally the cosmic marriage happening once again, where all of us can witness. How do you feel?
Actually, this whole marriage, right? It is not just that of it is a cosmic union which represents every one of our completion. It represents the complete attainment of fulfillment and that ultimate flowering of consciousness, the ultimate divine feminine consciousness awakening, and the ultimate masculine consciousness awakening in every one of us. That is why this whole Tirukalyanam is the most beautiful things, especially if you are a couple. This is a space for you to again remarry, experiencing that completion, reminding yourself of this auspicious happening. That is why the very word vivaha means where the man and a woman come together to fulfill each other's path of enlightenment with joy, love, and sacredness, to move together in the path of enlightenment, ultimately to experience that oneness with Paramashivam, the ultimate. This ceremony is where Devi Meenakshi and Sundareshwara Paramashiva are actually, this happens in a very traditional way. If you see, even in the Madurai temple and even in our Kailasa temple, there's a very beautiful tradition where the priests themselves um, enact the whole cosmic Leela. They enact the whole marriage happens where, on behalf of the deities, the royal priests do the whole marriage rituals. They themselves, as Meenakshi and Sundareshwara, accept the whole Mangalya Dharana, and the whole thing happens so beautifully. As representatives of the deities, the priests themselves take part of the ritual, reenacting the whole marriage scene. And this is a very beautiful tradition which happens in Madurai, which Swamiji has also revived in our Kailasa temples. We'll be able to see the priests of our temple reenacting this whole scene.
One very important thing we need to understand is the very concept of marriage in Sanatana Hindu Dharma. We do not have the concept of the kind of stability it brings. Even now, it is Hindus who have the most stable families in the whole world. This system is a very, very successful, stable system when it is followed in its authentic manner. We have those that is taken concept of divorce. Sorry, Nithyanandam, I hope my audio is better. No, I see some of you messaging. Are all of you able to hear me now? Yes. What I was mentioning, I will repeat again. It is only Hinduism we have the most stable families in the entire world. We do not have the concept of divorce. We do not have any such cognitions about divorce. That's why we don't like, it's a very normal way of existence where the children are with the family, and then once a child grows up, we continue to take care of the families. The families are kept together. This is a concept only present in Hinduism. We have this as a very unique lifestyle. And that is why the stability is so high. When the stability is so high, it even helps in this giving a psychological, emotional, and social support for humans. And this has been a well-established research. So this marriage ceremony that all of us are going to be witnessing is once again to remind all of us those vows that are taken, and we receive the blessings of Meenakshi and Sundareshwara, Bhagavan Sundareshwara Paramashiva, Devi Meenakshi Paramashiva Shakti, to have that stability in us, stability in our relationships, and to bring joy, bliss, and completion and fulfillment in our relationships. Just few days before, we were having the session where we all learned the importance about having the space of oneness in our relationships, how to complete with each other. We were learning this in Paramashivoham, right? We all even did that workshop. This ritual and the grand ceremony that's going to be happening, actually, this has been going on last 10 days. It's been a grand celebration that has been happening in our Kailasa temples across the world. Today, it's culminating in this grand marriage, the cosmic celestial marriage that's going to be happening. And through this, it's a reminder for all of us about the powerful cognitions that we are supposed to hold inside us. And just by being a part of this ritual itself, it will help you to strengthen those powerful cognitions in you. The energy, the frequency in which this whole ceremony will raise. Actually, if any of you are sitting and like your spouse is not around with you, we really recommend you to sit with your spouse, because this will help you strengthen and deepen your relationship. This will really, you will see a beautiful shift happening, beautiful completion happening with each other. The mantras that are chanted, and moreover, just sitting in the divine presence of the Nijavatara of Sundareshwara Paramashiva and Devi Meenakshi Paramashiva Shakti as the Nijavatara, Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Swamiji, that itself will heal any of this incompletions, the deep unfulfillment, all of these that are there in us. So take a few minutes, and if your family is not with you, it's not just your spouse, you can get your kids, everyone, and settle down. This will help you a lot in improving your relationships, deepening them, bringing in that fulfillment, bringing in that completion.
As every one of us are getting ready to witness this divine moment, this very auspicious happening of the divine wedding of Sundareshwara Paramashiva and Devi Meenakshi, in their in this very place where their divine wedding happened and where they ruled the kingdom, re-establishing the civilization of enlightenment. It is in that very place that all of us today see the Madurai temple standing. This Madurai temple that we are seeing is thousands of years old, dates back to the whole happening of Meenakshi and Sundareshwara Paramashiva himself. And did you know this Madurai Meenakshi temple, what we are seeing today, is not the original one that was actually built by Kulasekara Pandyan around the 33rd century BCE? Because during this whole time, during this whole period of invasions that our Hindu nations went through, even Madurai Meenakshi temple was attacked by multiple invaders and destroyed. The first of which was Alauddin Khilji's slave general Malik Kafur, who destroyed the temple in the early 14th century and looted its jewelry. But you also need to be told how brave our Pandyans, the Pandyan kings, fought against these tyrant forces. The the entire peripheral city walls of the ancient Madurai was completely surrounded by this army, and this happened around 1311 CE. And the Pandya kingdom by then had amassed a huge amount of wealth through their pearl production, through the Bay of Bengal and multiple sites which they deposited. And all of this were deposited for the temple treasury. All of our kings had built such prosperous kingdoms. They had garnered so much of wealth, and everything was put in making the entire kingdom more and more prosperous, giving more and more uh, access to the citizens, to all the people there, access to education, access to learning arts, access to learning sciences, and even setting up an enlightened civilization. What Devi Meenakshi and Sundareshwara Paramashiva had established continued to being carried over by this legacy of the future, the progeny of the Pandya kingdoms. Pandyans who went on to rule later on. And during the invasion of Alauddin Khilji's slave general, which is Malik Kafur, this Pandya kingdom was particularly targeted because of the huge amount of wealth and the huge temple of Madurai. And that time, the very powerful younger brother of Sundara Pandyan and his army were actually defeated and chained just outside the walls of the Meenakshi Amman temple by Malik Kafur. And the city walls were, however, guarded closely by a small yet extremely powerful army directly under the Pandya king Veera Pandyan IV. And actually, this whole temple it was so large enough that it could fit the entire city. So immediately, they had taken all the dwellers of that city into the temple, and just the small group of army guarded the inner walls of the temple. The Veerapandian, the king Veerapandian, used the guerrilla techniques from the inner walls of the city, and just a small group in number, was able to defend against the tens and thousands of army that was standing in front. And did you all know our kings were so able, they were so capable and strong, and they were so trained in warfare that to protect their dharma and the way they could plan, they were so meticulous. Even though they were very less in number, they stood and defeated the forces of the entire Mughal army for so many months, for almost a year. After trying, and still in vain, and after not being able to do anything, they were almost about to give up when they again went back to using one of their most cruel tactics, which is where they try to get in through treachery. In one such happening, they managed to breach through one of the walls of the fort, through which they were able to infiltrate into the temple, and they started destroying. But by then, our kings had protected the main Garbha Mandir. They built a false wall and around the Garbha Mandir, thus protecting the main deities of the temple. But even though they were able to breach, they were still not able to defeat our kings. And finally, our kings had to settle with agreement that they gave all the temple jewels to the Mughal army so that at least they could safeguard the citizens and the main temple. Time and again, our Hindu temples, our Hindu civilization has been a target. And still, after all of that, all of the wars and everything, by the time the Malik Kafur, the whole Mughal army had basically invaded, he had destroyed almost whole of the seven prakarams of the temple, leaving the Garbha Mandir, which was protected because of the false walls around them. But after this whole incident, and after the attack on Madurai, and after all of this, around the um, I should say around the 16th century, the whole Vijayanagara Empire, the Vijayanagara Empire rulers rebuilt the core of the temple and reopened it. It was around the 16th century. And the temple complex was further expanded and fortified, and all the complexes were restored. And today there are 14 gopurams, and each of them are 45 meters. And the complex has numerous sculpted pillars, such as the Thousand Pillar Hall, the Ayram Mantapam, the Kilikund Mantapam, the Golu Mantapam, and the Pudu Mantapam. Each of these shrines are dedicated to various different Hindu deities, and also the library, Annadan, the Annalaya, and the beautiful granaries. All of these were restored. Because, as we all know, the Hindu temples were not just meant to house the gods, it was an ecosystem that was kept alive. It had libraries, it had education systems, schools running. It was literally like a spiritual laboratory. In the lack of a better word, it was also a spiritual laboratory where so many enlightened masters came, practiced various different techniques, and they taught the science of enlightenment. This temple of Madurai has stood witness to so many leelas of Paramashiva, which we also call as the Tiruvilayadal, the divine leelas of Paramashiva, which are 64 in number, which are categorized and organized into 64 main leelas. And Madurai is so special because it is known as to how much Devi Meenakshi and Sundareshwara are available to the common men. Even to this day, anybody goes and prays to Meenakshi and Sundareshwara Paramashiva, they themselves immediately come and attend. I should say, keeping true to their promise, time and again they have descended. Like how today, for the modern world, the modern day and age, they themselves have descended as the supreme pontiff of Hinduism, our beloved Swamiji. So, how is it for you all to sit and witness, to be part of this grand happening? I can see all the participants of Mahaparamashivam are all like getting ready to witness this. And Swamiji himself is going to be coming very, very shortly. And we are going to be witnessing the whole ritual exactly as it happens and in the Madurai temple. And at the same time, we are going to be commencing the rituals in the Bidadi temple, in Kailasa temples around the world as well. And Swamiji himself is going to be gracing this auspicious occasion.
Just to share with all of you, even to this day, even now, what in the form of Meenakshi and Sundareshwara, the whole enlightened civilization was revived. Now, again, both of them in this physical embodied form as the supreme pontiff of Hinduism continues this grand revival. And I'm just going to show you a small clipping of how Swamiji, the supreme pontiff of Hinduism, works in the ground level to renovate, restore, and revive one of the temples in Madurai.
காக்க மண் மீது நடை போடும் திருக்கற்பத்தரு நித்ய குருபாதமே. குருபாதமே நித்ய குருபாதமே நம்மை காக்க மண் மீது நடை போடும் திருக்கற்பத்தரு நித்ய குருபாதமே.
மறை நான்கின் பொருளாக இறையன்பின் திரளாக உலகாலும் அருளாகுமே. வேதங்கள் துதிப்பாடும் உயர் வேதம் என்னாலும் நித்யானந்தன் பாதமே. நித்ய குருநாதன் திருப்பாதமே.
குருபாதமே நித்ய குருபாதமே நம்மை காக்க மண் மீது நடை போடும் திருக்கற்பத்தரு நித்ய குருபாதமே. குருபாதமே நித்ய குருபாதமே நம்மை காக்க மண் மீது நடை போடும் திருக்கற்பத்தரு நித்ய குருபாதமே.
ஆனந்த வாழ்வதன் விடிவாக ஞானத்தின் வடிவாக மண்மீதிலே வலம் வரும் திருக்கோயில் ரிஷிராஜன் தவசீலன் நித்யானந்தன் பாதமே. நித்ய குருநாதன் திருப்பாதமே.
குருபாதமே நித்ய குருபாதமே நம்மை காக்க மண் மீது நடை போடும் திருக்கற்பத்தரு நித்ய குருபாதமே. குருபாதமே நித்ய குருபாதமே நம்மை காக்க மண் மீது நடை போடும் திருக்கற்பத்தரு நித்ய குருபாதமே.
என் சித்தி யோகங்கள் வரம் ஏந்தும் யாகங்கள் பல ஜென்ம தவத்தாலுமே காணாத பெரும் ஞானம் பெருகும் அப்பொற்பாதம் பணிகின்ற கண நேரமே இணையில்லாத வரமாகுமே.
குருபாதமே நித்ய குருபாதமே நம்மை காக்க மண் மீது நடை போடும் திருக்கற்பத்தரு நித்ய குருபாதமே. குருபாதமே நித்ய குருபாதமே நம்மை காக்க மண் மீது நடை போடும் திருக்கற்பத்தரு நித்ய குருபாதமே.
What we saw now is a grand revival of the thousands of years old tradition established by Paramashiva and Paramashiva Shakti themselves.
And I just wanted to add to this. If you remember just a few minutes ago, you mentioned, right, like how this Madurai temple that we are seeing today is not to its full grandeur because it was looted and faced a lot of persecution. And now the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is working hard. And we all saw in the video, working, inspiring the people. He going by himself in the ground level and reviving it to its fullest glory.
And Devi Meenakshi and Sundareshwara Paramashiva re-established the political legitimacy of Hinduism. Actually, it is the Kailasa Nata Shamala Pita Sarvajna Pitam, the seat of the Sarvajna Pita, seat of knowledge, was founded by Meenakshi and Sundareshwara Paramashiva themselves. The kingdom of Madurai was the religious and political kingdom both. And this was established, like we were sharing earlier, by Paramashiva themselves and revived by Devi Meenakshi and Paramashiva in his form as Bhagavan Sundareshwara, who as the deities and incarnates continued the revival of the kingdom. This Madurai was the enlightenment ecosystem which stands today as the oldest civilization directly established by Paramashiva himself in the world. The ruling seat of this is called as Kailasonnata Shyamala Pita Sarvajna Peetham. It is called as Kailaso Unnata, means the best of Kailasa. This Madurai Adinam is located in the city of where it is present day Madurai, which is the capital, which was the capital of Pandya kingdom. The Pandya kings ruled the entire 59 nations that then constituted the entire planet Earth, and consequently all the regions which lie in the states of Tamil Nadu, the southern India. And actually, the historical accounts of this royal divine dynasty dates back to the reign of Bhagavan Sri Rama himself. So, the divine incarnation of Bhagavan Sri Vishnu. And it is also mentioned in the Mahabharata, the references of which we shared with all of you. So, this is ancient, age old civilization.
I just wanted to add to this. See, in Kailash, Paramashiva assumed one body. And in Paramashiva's own city, the Varanasi, Kashi, Paramashiva assumed two bodies. But in Madurai, he assumed 11 bodies and performed various leelas. Understand this sacred city. This has been very, very sacred and a very, very ancient city. And now it is again, once again, revived directly by the Nijavatara, the living incarnation of Paramashiva, through the Shyamala Pita Sarvajna Peetham. And today, as all of us gather over here, waiting to witness and celebrate this divine grand marriage ceremony that's going to be happening in just a few more minutes, all of us are going to be blessed, showered. Any prayer, any boon that you're going to put, you will see the leelas that start unfolding in your lives. Understand, every time, whichever bhava that Swamiji radiates, the kind of experiences you will have, the kind of things you'll be showered, everything will be from that bhava. That's how you connect, that's how we enjoy. Today, we are going to be having the darshan of the most graceful, most beautiful form of Paramashiva as Sundareshwara. And he assumes 11 different bodies and performs more than 64 leelas. So today, any boon, any prayer that you want, if whatever prayer you put, whatever boon you ask for, you will see the kind of leelas he will start performing in your life. How many of you want to experience that? Want to experience his leelas happening in your life? Understand, just today, you being here itself is a signal to you that you will start seeing his leelas unfolding in your lives. You just need to wait and just witness all your problems, everything that you've had till now. Just put whatever boons you want, and you will see when his eyes fall on your prayers, the kind of leelas it will start unfolding. You'll just, your whole life will become so delicious, because it's going to be just filled with so many leelas that's going to be happening.
Every one of us, as we witness this auspicious celebration today, let us all get ready to receive the darshan of Bhagavan Meenakshi and Sundareshwara, all of them in their embodied form as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism themselves. They revived Sanatana Hindu Dharma. They re-established the Dharma back. They gave back to humanity the Enlightenment civilization. They blessed us all with auspiciousness, showered us with the ultimate science of living enlightenment itself, which was revived again by Thirukalyanam Sambandar, who revived it more than 1500 years ago, around the 7th century, through the revival of Madurai Adinam, which again Paramashiva himself has come down, this time both Meenakshi and Sundareshwara in one form as the supreme pontiff of Hinduism, to revive and to re-establish this very glorious Sanatana Hindu Dharma. Like how Meenakshi established the rule over the 56 Hindu nations, creating the Akhanda Samrajya to re-establish the Sanatana Hindu Dharma back. Swamiji again has descended in planet Earth with the purpose to re-establish, restore the Dharma back by reviving Kailasa, the Hindu nation, civilizational nation, gifting us back to, to all of the Hindus and I should say the whole of humanity.
There's a beautiful incident that happens. Once Devi Meenakshi, Paramashiva Shakti, she used to go in disguise and to monitor the kingdom. She used to go in disguise and in the night time to just see how the kingdom is happening and to check if everything is all right. She used to go in disguise and check. Once what happens, once again that night she goes in disguise. This time a bunch of dacoits surround her and they all try to jump on her. And of course, Meenakshi, she defeats all of them. And once she defeats everyone, she suddenly notices, she stands proudly after defeating all the dacoits. She turns and sees Sundareshwara is standing behind the tree and enjoying this whole scene. And once she sees Sundareshwara is enjoying this whole scene, Meenakshi will just have a beautiful smile, enjoy that moment of Paramashiva enjoying, seeing her win. That moment, just to enjoy that moment once again, she has descended back again in this time, while all of us are having the opportunity, great blessing to witness. That is why any number of battles, any number of persecutions, again and again and again, she will keep winning, and have that smile which she enjoyed when she was in the body of Meenakshi, now coming as the supreme pontiff of Hinduism. And all of us that are here, we all are extremely blessed because this time we also are going to enjoy the way she's winning victoriously. Today is a grand celebration of this whole happening of Sundareshwara Paramashiva and Meenakshi Paramashiva Shakti. And we are now going to be watching a very short video of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism being coronated as a 293rd Pontiff of the Shyamala Peetham, which he himself had established as Meenakshi and Sundareshwara, now assumed back in this Nijavatara as Swamiji. He's continuing to revive this ancient seat, the Shyamala Peetham.
देवदेवोत्तम दीन संरक्षक देवदेवोत्तम दीन संरक्षक देवदेवोत्तम दीन संरक्षक देवदेवोत्तम दीन संरक्षक देवादिदेवा नित्यानन्दा देवादिदेवा नित्यानन्दा देवादिदेवा नित्यानन्दा देवादिदेवा नित्यानन्दा श्री नित्यानन्दा कृपामया श्री नित्यानन्दा कृपामया श्री नित्यानन्दा कृपामया श्री नित्यानन्दा कृपामया पतितोद्धारा पापविदूरा पतितोद्धारा पापविदूरा पतितोद्धारा पापविदूरा पतितोद्धारा पापविदूरा नित्यपुरीशा नित्यानन्दा नित्यपुरीशा नित्यानन्दा नित्यपुरीशा नित्यानन्दा नित्यपुरीशा नित्यानन्दा भस्मोद्भवकर भवभयनाशन भस्मोद्भवकर भवभयनाशन भस्मोद्भवकर भवभयनाशन भस्मोद्भवकर भवभयनाशन श्री नित्यानन्दा कृपामया 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 देवदेवोत्तम दीन संरक्षक 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 देवादिदेवा नित्यानन्दा देवादिदेवा नित्यानन्दा देवादिदेवा नित्यानन्दा देवादिदेवा नित्यानन्दा श्री नित्यानन्दा कृपामया श्री नित्यानन्दा कृपामया श्री नित्यानन्दा कृपामया श्री नित्यानन्दा कृपामया पतितोद्धारा देवदेवोत्तम दीन संरक्षक देवदेवोत्तम दीन संरक्षक देवादिदेवा नित्यानन्दा देवादिदेवा नित्यानन्दा श्री नित्यानन्दा कृपामया श्री नित्यानन्दा कृपामया पतितो दारा पापविदूरा पतितो दारा पापविदूरा पतितो दारा पापविदूरा पतितो दारा पापविदूरा नित्यपुरीशा नित्यानन्दा नित्यपुरीशा नित्यानन्दा भस्मोद्भवकर भवभयनाशन भस्मोद्भवकर भवभयनाशन भस्मोद्भवकर भवभयनाशन भस्मोद्भवकर भवभयनाशन श्री नित्यानन्दा कृपामया 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 देवदेवोत्तम दीन संरक्षक देवदेवोत्तम दीन संरक्षक देवादिदेवा नित्यानन्दा देवादिदेवा नित्यानन्दा पतितो दारा पापविदूरा पतितो दारा पापविदूरा पतितो दारा पापविदूरा पतितो दारा पापविदूरा भस्मोद्भवकर भवभयनाशन भस्मोद्भवकर भवभयनाशन श्री नित्यानन्दा कृपामया श्री नित्यानन्दा कृपामया श्री नित्यानन्दा कृपामया श्री नित्यानन्दा कृपामया नित्यानन्दा हरे नित्यानन्दा 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 नित्यानन्दा
We can see how each moment we can see Swamiji's sincere hard work, his commitment and dedication to the revival, to restoring the Sanatana Hindu Dharma, the glory of this civilization that Devi Meenakshi Meenakshi and Bhagavan Sundareshwara Paramashiva themselves have established. And now Swamiji is reviving it. The clippings of what you saw are from the pics of those, the clippings from Swamiji's own coronation as the successor of Kailasonatha Shyamala Pita Sarvagnya Peetam as a 290 second 93rd pontiff of the Madurai Adinam. And we can see here where Swamiji himself had personally visited those temples, made sure the Annadan was restored, made sure the medical facilities were available to the people. Every time, like as we all know, Hinduism built every temple as an ecosystem which was of service to the common public there, not just as a religious place, but also for people to avail these services completely free of cost: education, food, healthcare, even staying up to 3 months in the chatrams. Swamiji had revived the authentic purpose of temple back to its complete glory, making sure these temples were clean, making sure that the rituals happened properly as per agamas. In every aspect, Swamiji ensured it was revived completely back to its complete glory. As all of us await this auspicious occasion, now the moment has arrived for all of us to witness, to behold the cosmic union, the divine marriage, the Paramadvaita Anubhuti of Devi Meenakshi and Bhagavan Sundareshwara Paramashiva. Let us all get ready to witness this auspicious moment.
Just a quick reminder to everyone, all the viewers that are watching us on social media platforms. This stream that you're watching currently is going to be ending. So once the stream ends, please take a few seconds to refresh. Go back to the same channel that you're watching this in, refresh once, and you will be able to watch the live darshan as a new stream. Thank you all. Please stay tuned, and we are going to be witnessing the live darshan of the Tirukalyanam and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in just a few minutes.